I had a lot of fun reading this light-hearted novel about the UK film industry in the 1930s. And this will be also my first recommendation for Filmtastic February Reads. This is an event that I'm hosting next February where we read, or I am going to read anyway, and I invite you to join me, all kinds of film related fiction and non-fiction. Hi, I'm Annie, and it's time to join me on an obscure book adventure. So today I'm recommending and talking about Prater Violet by Christopher Isherwood. And this is, like I said, a story about the UK film industry in the 1930s. In this story, Christopher Isherwood, the fictional Christopher Isherwood, he put himself in this novel, and this is partly lightly an autobiography. It is not an autobiography, but he puts things in this novel and bases his story on his own experiences. So the fictional character Christopher Isherwood gets a phone call from a film company, and they read a novel of his and they want him to write a film script. So he teams up with an Austrian film director, Bergmann, and they start to write this film script. And it is a light-hearted musical called Prater Violet. This is really, it was written in 1945, but it is set in the 1930s. The backdrop is the rise of Hitler. As you may know, the first thing Hitler did when he was in power was to annex Austria. He invaded Austria and took things over there. So that is the threat of Hitler is at the background of this novel. So it is really a contrast between the light-hearted subject, the filming and writing of a light-hearted musical, and the dialogues between Bergmann and Isherwood are really well written as well. They are humoristic, satirical at some points, as Bergmann refers everything to Hitler or to the English history. And these are really fun dialogues to read. Isherwood, the writer Isherwood, writes in this novel also a metaphor of the situation where England was in during the days predecessing the Second World War, and how the English thought of the rise of Hitler, as they didn't see, not everybody did see the threat in it. So Isherwood writes, "This respectable umbrella is the Englishman's magic wand, with which he will try to wave Hitler out of existence. When Hitler declines rudely to disappear, the Englishman will open his umbrella and say, 'After all, what do I care for a little rain?' But the rain will be the reign of bombs and blood. The umbrella is not bomb-proof. So it's really a good metaphor of what a lot of English politicians thought at the time, and a lot of English people thought at the time. Not everybody, of course. There were, of course, a lot of people, some people that warned against Hitler, but I thought it was a good written metaphor of the situation. So there's a strange atmosphere with seriousness and lighthearted dialogues and humor in it. Not only the dialogues are good, the story is very well paced and entertaining to read. But I did think the major plot twist could have happened 1 or 2 chapters earlier, but when it happened, it was a lot of fun to read, as it goes into the difficulties of the early years of sound in films. As you of course probably know, the early films were without sound, and in 1927 sound film came about. And there were obviously in the early 1930s, late 1930s, a lot of difficulties as cameras made noises, and that Isherwood does a good job at writing the difficulties of filming in the 1930s. I did read a lot of books about the film industry, early film industry. I saw a lot of documentaries about the early film industry, and from going to that, I think he does a good job at writing it. And Isherwood himself was a scriptwriter as well, so he knows everything firsthand as well. So this is my first recommendation. I highly recommend Prater Violet by Isherwood. If you don't have to wait until February to read this one, you can read it earlier, whenever you like, later, whenever you like. But Filmtastic February Reads, the reading event that I am hosting, is definitely a good excuse to read this one. And I read the ebook, and you can all see how much time it takes for somebody, for an average reader, to read this. And I think it said you can read it in less than 2 hours. Well, not me. It took me at least twice as long, but I'm a slow reader, so you probably will be able to read it in less than 2 hours. So I highly recommend it. If you like to see more of these types of videos, or want to help me spread the word of obscure books, and to get the lesser known books more spread amongst the people, please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.